So just 5 years ago, New York City launched the largest, most ambitious urban sustainability initiative ever. 13,000 buildings, just like the one we're in, have to report energy and water use data each year so that the city can lay out steps for reaching its sustainability goals. This is much easier said than done. How do you handle data for 13,000 buildings? How do you coordinate teams in the analysis of this data to come up with timely, actionable insights? And how do you engage the building owners and everybody else who's impacted by this law? The scale of this data presents enormous challenges. That's why it took the city over 18 months to release their annual benchmarking report, thus rendering the data a little less valuable. That's why the city is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars each year making sense of it all. Perhaps most importantly, that's why it took weeks for the city to identify which buildings were susceptible to Legionnaire's disease, a scare that most New Yorkers remember from just a few months ago. Well, Maalka removes the barriers of big data. Whether you're a city like New York City with 13,000 buildings, or a corporation like Walgreens with 8,000 buildings across the country, users can use Maalka to visually explore data and collaboratively manage data and processes for thousands of buildings at a time. With our platform, you can find deep trends within your portfolio of your sustainability metrics. You can instantly engage service partners, building managers instantly to take targeted actions. And you can track the impacts of your sustainability across your portfolio on both sustainability and your NOI. And this is huge because cities across the country are following in New York City's footsteps. 50 cities have signed on to start their initiatives, and none of them are prepared to meet the data needs. In addition, 200 of the largest US corporations have committed to continuous sustainability improvement. We're going to save each of these organizations hundreds of thousands of dollars and make sure that they can meet their targets and exceed them to really make a difference. And such an ambitious vision requires a world-class team because you see, we're not just building a tech platform, we're building an ecosystem of buildings, of their data, of the people, and of services. As a Department of Energy Building Innovation Fellow, my PhD research focused on innovative ways to make sense of sustainability data in commercial buildings. I'm bringing the science. My co-founder, John, he's got over 30 years of experience building technical startups. He recently completed his appointment at the White House, where he set the guidelines for how each federal agency will achieve 50% energy use reductions in 15 years. John brings the policy. And then Clay Teeter brings with him 15 years of experience in Silicon Valley, building technical startups. Most recently as the VP of engineering for a firm whose valuation he built. He grew from 20 to 120 million with 35 engineers. Science, policy, technology. These are three key elements required to address a world-changing issue. And in just 8 months, we've landed contracts with city and state governments, with the 17th largest architecture firm in the world, and a national data-driven sustainability organization. We're in the process of expanding to 2 more cities by the end of the year and providing services to an industry-leading engineering consulting firm. We're seeking money to really bring on board a team that's ready to go to build our engineering and sales efforts. You see, we have a goal of connecting every single building owner and their tenants in the nation to the Maalka value chain and ecosystem. It's never been a better time for technology to disrupt an ancient industry, the commercial building industry, and we're in the position to lead the way. Thank you.
Thanks, that was great. I'm wondering who are your competitors in the space?
So I didn't have time to actually give an image. We have what we call the Maalka value chain. It's really the entire process of starting a sustainability initiative, whether that's the end goal is corporate sustainability reporting, or actually taking targeted actions, or actually just engaging teams. Each of our competitors is focused on one part of this value chain, and most importantly, on very small sets of buildings. No one's built to scale and handle thousands of buildings at a time. So really, our most direct competitors are consultants who are just making a killing in this industry by charging hundreds of thousands of dollars, resulting in static reports and very slow turnarounds and innovation. So in general, the only person that has the holistic view that Maalka does is consultants.
How did you solve this problem if your competitors are looking at each problem individually? How did you pull them all together, and where are you pulling the data from?
So the data is already being collected on a single building level. Most of the corporations and these cities with these initiatives are collecting the data. And the reason it's such a problem is it takes 18 months for them to make sense of it all. So our platform literally gives them the ability to explore, assign teams, dynamically create programs. And if there's a part of that value chain that we can't service, we're creating an open API, open ecosystem, where each of our competitors can plug in and reach a broad market faster than they've ever been able to before. So essentially, we're letting the best technologies reach the best buildings that need them the most.
Are there any upfront costs that buildings need to take on in order to plug into your platform?
That depends. We're set up to really handle a number of data streams that are being collected at the building level. At the most basic level, we're going for breadth. So in terms of the water and energy use data, if there's no tech or hardware installed, they can manually upload that data. But we give them the insights across the entire portfolio to take action. But now, as you move up the tech ladder, we start with actual smart meters of energy. So our co-founder helped create the guidelines for this Green Button initiative, which is an interoperability standard for reporting energy use data across the country. So we're fully automating that data ingestion stream, as well as different accepted platforms in cities across the country. And then that value chain is really pretty much endless when you start adding Internet of Things technologies, so we can track things like temperature indoors on a single building level. But again, to come back to our value, we're rolling that up to allow you to identify anomalies across your portfolio.
So it's an impressive kind of look to the product, and the team looks like they're really well positioned to think hard about this problem.
Yes, we are.
But selling to municipalities sucks, and enterprise sales are not that much easier. And I wasn't seeing that on the team yet, and I'm just kind of curious, how are you going to solve that problem?
That is another special sauce of ours, is our business model. We have a very specific go-to-market strategy on the public side. We have identified a way to provide services that reduces costs of the administration of these programs, as well as costs of different departments, whether you're the Department of Buildings, Department of Sustainability, Department of Permitting, all of that. They can use the Maalka platform to really streamline their processes. In exchange, we're building up a network of all the building owners, tenants, and anybody else who wants to play on our network in each of these jurisdictions. So on the public side, we're creating an ecosystem that we've definitely found ways to monetize. On the private side, we have a much more direct business model, selling direct services for everything from data analysis tools to document storage to collaboration, basically streamlining their ability for 8,000 buildings to get managed by a single director of sustainability in a corporation. So we have a very innovative business model for both public and private sectors.
So real quick, can you dig in briefly on the $25 billion total market size? What does that number represent? How did you calculate that? And what portion of that's addressable for you?
So that's really based on the largest market number we could find in the US.
Is that
That's
consulting
the TAM.
fees, or is that actual capital outlay to improve efficiency?
There's 15 million multi-tenant residential buildings that would fit within our scope, and 5 million commercial buildings, 5.6 million to be exact. So around total 20 million. And then we're talking about between $20 to $150 per month on the annual subscription on that service model. That's definitely the TAM, which is not something, we're really looking at the smaller run right now, which is still a $4 billion dollar market opportunity, excuse me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.